So here it is, baby. The market show you don't want to miss. But you do have to ask yourself, who's better, InART or Hot Toys? And which company's action figures are going to do better for you in the secondary market? We're going to talk about that within this episode for sure. And what about the secondary market? Has everything just crashed and spilled? Kind of like all the Cantina coffee that I'm kind of treading water on over here, baby. Right now I have to go ahead and, quench my thirst with this off-world Jawa egg juice. Or is this deluxe spotchka? I don't know. I've had so much. It's hard to tell, baby. But let's go ahead and dive into all of this. Right now. All right, baby, and welcome to another episode of the Market Value Chart Show right here at the 6 Scale Cantina. And just in case you don't know who I am the Dark Jedi Aries Tarrington, about to serve up all the 6 Scale action figure talk. So please go ahead and smash that like button right now, baby. And also, if you're not subscribed, go ahead and subscribe to the 6 Scale Cantina. And yes, of course, I really do appreciate the support, baby. This economy is not really well suited at the moment for collecting and for large amounts of expendable income. It's just not. And it's evident right now when you go look in the secondary market, particularly when you go look at action figures, it's suffering. It's suffering. So many things are suffering. Okay? But that is quite the reason is because your energy and your essentials like food are volatile, to say the least. They really are. And while other commodities and other things are coming down slightly and are moderating, energy and food is going to remain volatile for a long time, I really believe. And we experienced here in the United States the largest amount of inflation in 40 years back in 2021 and 2022. And honestly, the inflation that we were experiencing here was even greater in Europe, in Russia, and is greater right now. So even though it's coming down, and it's around 3.2% here, the rate of inflation here in the United States, which is way better than 5 or 6, right? That's still way above 2% on where it should be. So while it's coming down and some things are moderating, people are still trying to catch up and catch up. And when you're trying to play catch up, and you got to go ahead and you got to fuel up your car, baby. And you got to go ahead and you got to turn the furnace on, or you got to turn the AC on. Okay, and you got to go ahead and you got to put food on the table. And you got to go ahead and you got to do this and you got to do that. And you got to pay this bill and pay that bill and take care of that utility and do this and do that. Sometimes these type of collectibles that require large amounts of money, and even ones that cost lower amounts of money, but you collect them, you collect more volume, more pieces of them, they add up. And right now you're starting to see evidence of that across everything within the secondary market. I can go to this right here. And anything that's been exhausted it's hard to move right now. If it's still available at some comic shops and things of that nature. You could look at this awesome Nightmare Batman's and Superman TMS 038, and really from an outstanding seller with 559 feedback, all 100% positive, $366, not including the $40.70 in shipping, but a pretty good deal here. A pretty good deal. Why? And honestly, you can go to more when you look at here. Let's go to one that's new. And you're seeing listings for figures like this. This is brand new, another outstanding seller. This seller with 20,254 feedback, all 100% positive. And just $380. And what's the shipping on here? $20. Wow, $400 for this particular figure. And this one is new. Why is this? Why is there such a discount right now for a figure like that? Let's go to more. Let's pull this up onto the screen. And here is Boba Fett and the Throne, in pretty much the same ratio with this figure. And you can see right here another outstanding seller with 1,231 feedback, all 100% positive. $277.69, not including the $7 in shipping for Boba and the Throne. Why is this? Why with some of these are these things going on? And I can tell you, as we continue to go on and take a look at some of these trends and answer this question here as we continue to go on with the show, there's only so much gas in the tank, money in the wallet right now for people to go ahead and buy figure after figure and thing after thing. So once the desire or the collecting community has exhausted the desire for such figures, and there is a thing called overstock, who's going to buy it? And it could be collectors that it's not number one on their list, or it could have been collectors that were just struggling with money despite what the economy was, and are trying to get it now, okay? Or it could just be collectors that really just didn't want it, like, oh, I'll jump on it because I'm getting $100 off, or I'm getting 30% off, or I'm getting 40% off, or 50% off, and they're going ahead and they're jumping on it. Is selling that quantity sustainable to stay in those type of quantities? Not if the economy gets better and those same collectors that were not going to touch it for the regular price aren't going to continue to touch it, because it's not going to do anything. There's nothing new. There's nothing fresh. There's no new collectors that are coming in. Now, one of the reasons why, which brings me to the point here, I don't think there's a whole lot of collectors that are jumping into this hobby right now. And that doesn't mean that I really believe that they're going to be, because this is, I believe, is the best hobby in existence, but I'm kind of biased to it. These are the best, these 6-scale figures are just the best action figures. It's unbelievable. But really, with anything collectible right now, you got to kind of slow down the production lines, because people aren't sitting there going, oh, it's so hard to put fuel in my tank, and it's $4 a gallon, $5 a gallon. Price of eggs, gosh, $4.99 to $3.99, $2.99. Gosh, I went to get a quart of half and half. It's $4, baby. It's $5. My goodness. I went ahead to try and get a bag of grapes. And why is it this much money? I went to try and get a cantaloupe, a watermelon, a bag of popcorn, a little pint of salsa, a little container of peanuts. That's what happens. That's what happens. So while they're so struggling for that and making those questions, oh, by the way, let me go ahead and take a few $1,000s and get into this hobby. Well, I can't buy peanuts. Pause. You're watching the Market Chart Show. Which is why you're starting to see, with so many companies, so many adjustments on these figures that are coming out, or collectibles that are coming out. They're limited. They're exclusive. They're numbered. They're going on wait list well before what we were used to on a pre-order cycle. Cause and effect. Cause and effect. Okay, there's a problem with the global economy. There's adjustments being made. Cause and effect. And when you go ahead and you make those adjustments, there's a thing called supply and demand. And so there was too much supply and not enough jumping in at the moment for obvious reasons. Again, peanuts, off-world Jawa, McEgg juice, whatever it is. Your cantina crackers, baby. And not jumping in as quickly. That doesn't mean they won't in the future, but not right now. So you have to go ahead and adjust to the times. And I believe that that is exactly what is going on with a lot of these figures that are up on pre-order right now and are going on wait list really, really early. And you've got collectors and people, buyers, scrambling to get these figures. And you're seeing them go up, and some of them into Grail zones. Unlike these, at least for the current moment, which are not currently up at Grail zones. So here's the complete opposite. You can go ahead and take a look at this particular figure here. And this is the Garfield Spider-Man. MMS 658, the Amazing Spider-Man. $355 with 46 bids. An outstanding seller with 128,888 feedback. Wow. With free shipping, but not including taxes. Why is this? This figure just came out. Cause and effect. Supply and demand. And when you're doing that, you're also creating a buzz. Oh, did you hear about those? Did you hear about these Black Series figures, these Hot Toys figures, these Sideshow figures, these InART figures, these Asmus figures, these Hasbro figures, there's whatever, these Mego figures, this figure, that figure, this Spotchka. They just came out with this flavor. They just came out with that brand. They just came out with this Garfield Spider-Man. And it's hard to get. It's going close to $400. That creates buzz. That creates a call to action. That also goes ahead and starts giving that figure and those collectibles or those items a rep that, hey, you better go ahead and jump on those because those are going to go up in value quickly. And that's exactly what you're seeing, I believe, right here. And it's the same thing when anything is rare or low numbers. You can go way, way back. Cause and effect, and where it's hard to get. This is a figure that's hard to get. And this is the MMS 129. Again, this is early on. MMS 129 T1000. $355. Another outstanding seller with 4,124 feedback, not including the $1,530 in shipping and not including taxes. So even in this economy, things that are rare are going to continue to go well because those are the things that are precious. Those are the things that are highly collectible. Those are the things where people are gravitating to at the moment. Here's a DX10, speaking of Terminator and Terminator 2, Judgment Day. And this is incomplete. Incomplete, missing the bag, missing pairs of hands, whatever. And it still went for $365. Wow. And not including taxes, with 24 bids from an outstanding seller, with 576 feedback. But then you can go ahead and look at this, and in some comic shops and in some places, this is available. And this one seller I showed before, again, with this enormous feedback, great seller, 52 bids, a lot of demand, but not a lot of money that want to spend on this. $300 for a TMS 046 Mandalorian and the McBlurg. $300. And it's new. And it's new. So, there's only so much money to go around. And people need to take a lot of that money for essentials and critical items. And especially for items that will remain volatile for probably the very long-term future, unfortunately. Energy and food. And it's the amount of production on these is going to be greatly reduced, I feel, to be able to avoid situations like this. Look, you're even seeing with some figures. I'm seeing with some figures that I've been on wait list. They come out and they're hard to get. And they're not hitting Grail status yet. And they're just right at retail. You can go ahead and look at that DX Ahsoka, and the Ahsoka series just ended. And that figure's selling at retail, but it's not going gangbusters at all. And right now there's so many figures that are out there, and there's so many releases. The ones that are that didn't sell so many, and I believe that Ahsoka, for instance, the DX 20 and 21 Ahsoka, so many people pre-ordered that. That was up on pre-order forever, and a lot of people and a lot of collectors took that pre-order. That thing sold out. And remember, that thing was up for, it was almost like 2 years. It was like, it was crazy. The amount of months in time. Certainly like a year and a half that thing was up. That thing was just up, collecting pre-orders and pre-orders and pre-orders and pre-orders. A couple of years. And there was such a high demand for that figure, more than people realize and that we talk about on these channels and in this community. That was number one for a very, 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 very long time. That didn't just come up, got into top 5. Oh, wow, people are interested. It's great. It goes down. That was number one for weeks. That was number one for weeks, like the Clone Wars Ahsoka. For weeks upon weeks upon weeks. Then it just stayed up for over a year or 2 years and months upon months upon months upon months. And that's still, baby. That's still went on wait lists right when they put out the final production photos within 24, 48 hours. Never actually got into stock. For instance, at the official distributor here in the States or in Europe, Sideshow Collectibles. It never got into stock there. So some collectors would venture to say, oh, well, because, that particular Ahsoka figure is not as popular, or, that's why, it wasn't selling so much with the Ahsoka series. No. I disagree. It's because they sold so many, and the economy's so, that you're just not getting hundreds upon hundreds and hundreds upon hundreds and thousands upon thousands, listen carefully, thousands upon thousands like zombies running in to buy stamps, to buy vintage collectibles, to buy statues, to buy grandfather clocks, to buy Ferraris, okay, to buy your new, whatever the heck it is, Ford Cobra. It's just not happening right now. And all these companies know it's not happening, which is why these are going on wait list a lot sooner and are having such low numbers. Because they have to adjust. They have to adjust. And let me tell you something, and I'm going to say this again. If you could get figures like this right now for these discounted prices, or 100 off or 50 off, I say jump all over, because I believe in the years to come, these particular figures are, some of them, and this could be one of them, could be a big, big grail. If you get discounts on online retailers or some of these comic shops or stuff like this, don't think these are duds. You go look 3, 4, 5, 6, 10 years down the road, something like that with some of these. it's the same as it's always been. A lot of these sometimes they don't go ahead and get that value until a couple years, few years, or sometimes even longer than that down the road. But then Aries, why are some of these figures instantly going on? Is it gratification that they're going up so high? And no, because the economy's rough. So being able to want to sell something for twice as much right now when you buy it, because there's a lot of impulse buying in this hobby. It's very addictive. It just is. And some collectors won't admit it, but it's just addictive. And some collectors, unfortunately, are in more debt than what they will say, and it's addictive. And right now, there's a little bit more of a need to be able to buy this as, oh, I did it, I bought it, and now I got to sell it in 3 weeks. It's a little hard right now. It's a little hard when you have stuff like this. That doesn't mean it's definitely, this is so worth it. I think it's worth it at the retail price. It's just that it's going to take time for these to become like Grails. But for some collectors, there is no time in an economy like this. And you're dealing with it. If you got the money, you got the resources, you can pick up some of these. I think it's an unprecedented time and a great time to jump on some of these. What about the figures? What about figures like this? Is this a good time for that? This may be the only time. Because I think what's going on right here is you're going to have some of these. I don't know if it's going to be this one. I don't know if it's going to be Cad Bane. I don't know if it's going to be the new Matrix Revolutions one. I don't know if it's going to be Doc Ock. I don't know if it'll be that aforementioned DX 2021 Ahsoka. But some of these are going to be like Dark Side Anakins. And some of these are just not going to straight out reissue. I mean, some of these are very, very unique. Do I see them coming out again with this exact Andrew Garfield from this No Way Home movie? I actually don't. Do I see them coming out with many versions of Andrew Garfield? Yes. You've already saw a different one of Tobey Maguire for Spider-Man. You're certainly going to see that with this. But this one from this movie, unless they do a one-time artisan one for this, but they can do that from him for, a plethora of other appearances as well. It's true. So, going to I'm going to go to the second question first, because it's going to make you wait on bated breath. Who's better, InART or Hot Toys? Who's going to do better in the secondary market? This is a very simple answer to you. Whoever puts out less. It could be the worst figure in the world. It could be a figure that looks like dirt, or like this Spotchka cap head sculpt. It was only going to be limited to 100 pieces, 300 pieces, 1,000 pieces, 1,500 pieces, 2,500 pieces, or not limited. Just go and not be available or very hard to get very, very quickly. And you can kind of deduce, well, I think that's about 1,000, 1,500, 2,000, 3,000 of these. They're both going to do great. There's not going to be one better than the other. Cause and effect, supply and demand, just like I just put up that T1000. And you could be like, well, this one's prices are so much more. Well, that one's prices is so much more. So that one's harder to get, so that's going to be a whole lot to get. Okay. People will tell me, oh, Aries, that Gandalf. The Gandalf from InART, which is, I can't wait to get that figure. I got to find a way to get that figure, but I'm getting that figure. It's hard to get. And you see it selling for this price like I have up here. And honestly, I feel like the way this looks, it's worth $8,459. But here's, and I'm exaggerating, but you know what I'm saying. Is just, this is like, look at that. Look at that. Can you see that? I mean, they're doing just as good of work as Hot Toys, and this is unbelievable. But you see these figures starting to go that are hard to get for, these type of money, like, $845 there. You're also starting to see Hot Toys versions of these figures. Tim Sense sold out, baby. And you're seeing the last remnants of these come up. It's sold out at Toys Buying Agent, too. But coming up with some other sellers. And once these are gone, these are going to be gone. 1,500 of the Gal Gadot Wonder Woman. My gosh. Gone. Gone, gone, gone. And this one going for that amount of money, too. I mean, you could even go ahead and pull up another well-known seller. And you can see here down to the last one of this seller here, Toys for Adults. Another great seller. 3 sold, last one. Selling it for $950. Again, none of these figures very easy to get a hold of right now, one way or another. And as long as these companies continue to put out limited, I mean, these are collectibles. So when they're limited numbers, that draws attention, even if it's not a popular IP or an IP that hasn't received a whole lot of attention, or a character that hasn't received a whole lot of attention lately. You could say Wonder Woman did because she was in The Flash, but The Flash bombed like bad. But it's Wonder Woman. It's Gal Gadot. She was awesome, and I actually liked the movie quite a bit. The Flash movie, but who could figure out the box office? But anyway, that's a whole different story anyway. And it has a lot to do with this. It got a lot of people that were free at the movies just to go aren't going as much, which it's a clear trend out there. It just is, which is a shame. I go to the movies all the time. Anyway, we'll save that for another episode. Maybe we'll talk about that in one of the upcoming live shows for sure. But look, who's going to do better? If any one of them puts out 50,000 at these prices, they're probably going to sit. I don't care if the figure comes to life. I don't care if it comes to life. Eventually, when there's too much and there's an oversaturation that overextends the long-term market or the short-term market, but eventually will get long, it's going to blow out, like those Sphero BB-8s. Those Sphero BB-8s and BB-9Es, those are fantastic. Sphero R2s, they mass produce those suckers. Doesn't make them any less cool. It's just, now you can get them anywhere now. And that particular character right now is not the trending character, at least not now, BB-8 or BB-9E, at the moment. So whoever keeps, as long as these stay collectible. And what about the ones, again, as I bring up, well, what about the ones that are still available at my comic shop areas or easily obtainable? Well, this hobby is going to continue. And there's going to be more and more that come in throughout the years, which is going to go ahead and make up that difference. Some of these that are coming out now, though, they could be real super grails and be at these prices now. That Gandalf, that's what you got. The InART Joker, that's what you got. The Artisan Joker, that's what you got. This Gal Gadot Wonder Woman, that's what you got. They're not going to make any more of those particular versions. You're not going to get any more of this Wonder Woman celebrating Warner Brothers 100. This is the Warner Brothers 100 Wonder Woman. It doesn't mean they won't give you 50,000 other Wonder Women, but they're not going to give you this one again. Okay? Which will always be limited and have those limited numbers on there for sure. As long as these stay collectible to the current times, You'll be just fine. They're both collectible. Now, who's better? InART or Hot Toys? And I say, look, I mean, I'm going to be honest with you. You pull some stuff over here, pulling this up on the screen, and let's go ahead and start with Superman, and let's talk about this Superman right here. Quite frankly, this Henry Cavill Superman from InART. Which, if I could go ahead and see what picture, oh, what the heck, I'll just show you all the pictures that I have on this particular figure. Pulling this up onto the screen. Jeez, so good. And let me go ahead and change it. Here you go. So, this is like a Hot Toy. Because this is what I know Hot Toys for, is for head sculpts. Is this better than Hot Toys? This looks like a Hot Toy. This looks like the latest, greatest from Hot Toys, but it's actually not. It's the latest, greatest from another outstanding new company that's going ahead and making figures, and this looks absolutely stunning. Do I think that this is better than the latest Henry Cavill from Hot Toys? Of course it's better. There's just no... It is better. This is the best Henry Cavill Superman that is out there. And here's some different angles of that, some little bit of different lighting there. Does that make them better than Hot Toys? No. Does that make them worse than Hot Toys? No. Does that make them push Hot Toys? And yes, I do. I believe that they get pushed. Because there's another company being able to make figures just as good as them. Remember, it's the artists within certain companies and the ways that they do things. And you can hire other artists, and you can go ahead and, you know, if this is what you're investing in and this is what your passion is, you'll find a way to make it happen. Now, does this mean that this will be the ultimate Henry Cavill Superman forever? I don't know. Because I can tell you right now, I've got inside information that Hot Toys is making another Henry Cavill Superman. And is that a surprise? No. How many Christian Bales have they made? How many Gal Gadots have they made? How many Luke Skywalkers have they made? Boba Fett's, Tony Stark's. They got the license for this. You could take this just like Christian Bale. Of course, they're going to make a ton of Henry Cavill Supermans. Are they going to answer right here to InART? Sure. And could that one be better than this? And let's say that they do put out one Hot Toys, and it is better than this. Does that mean that they're better than them? Not necessarily. I feel like they're doing the same work, and you can see that this is very comparable here to what they're doing. For sure. And then you could take a look at, well, Ares. I've just never seen anything like that. Yeah, you have. You absolutely have. You've just seen this, for instance, which looks like Elizabeth Olsen, and one of the best looking figures I've ever seen in history. And they're both companies now knocking these things out of the park with some of this rooted hair technology. Can you thank InART for going ahead and making Hot Toys? Now, we don't know if Hot Toys wasn't going to put this out, though. I think that it pushed them or accelerated what they were going to do innovation-wise. You bet your butt I do. But nobody knows for sure. But gosh, this looks like a real human being. They're getting even better. Who's better? I don't really think it matters. I think it's very, very comparable. Very, very. And I don't, if InART, let's say, for an instance, just a for instance, as an example, if they were able to put out this figure, of course you're going to have certain fans of one company. Oh yes, it'll be so much better. You can't get so much better than this. This is the truth. Accept the truth. You can't. Just like you can't get so much better than that Henry Cavill Superman that is out there. You can't. Hot Toys will put one up. Do I think it could match it? Could it be slightly better? Sure. Just like we're talking about here, when I pull this up a little bit bigger, our current banner onto the screen, when you're going ahead and looking at both of those Jokers, I mean, it's potato. Hot Toys shows they can match what they do. It's a different point of view. It's a different angle. It's a different interpretation. They are both good. As a matter of fact, you can't deny how good the Hot Toys one was. It was limited to just 4,000 pieces, and this was gone. And I don't know, what was it, 32 minutes? Just gone. That's a lot of demand for something that is not second best. It's just what you prefer. And when this comes out, we'll have to see which one's better. That's a prototype. But you could look at this up on the screen, too. And I can tell you right now, the Hot Toys Superman, the old one, and I really honestly think that that's one of the highlights of Howard Chan's company, is I do believe that his Christopher Reeve Superman may be one of his best figures he has ever put out. It's going to be hard to beat. I have the Christopher Reeve Superman. I don't even know if Hot Toys can beat it. I think Hot Toys can beat it with the rolling eyes function and some different things. But, I mean, you'd have to make Christopher Reeve, it'd have to be like a real clone human. I don't know how you make it any better. But again, this is a prototype. The prototype that we've seen of InART looks really, really good. I don't think it looks better than the Christopher Reeve one. But then again, hold that thought, because look at Sasha Calle here from Hot Toys. I'll put it right next to that. And people bash that figure. And honestly, I don't think the Christopher Reeve Superman from InART or Sasha Calle is all that bad. As a matter of fact, I think that when both companies put these out, these are prototypes, they're going to come out looking just like the actor and the actress. Why do I think that? Because it's what these companies do. And everybody gets all up in arms. Oh my God, or this or that or this and that. Look, and honestly, companies are companies. They're not deities. They're not Zeus or any of these Greek gods or whatever, all this kind of stuff, Greek mythology and with special powers or X-Men or superheroes or whatever, that they're never going to make an error. And these are prototypes, so they're not really errors. They're just, we can't worry about that. I cannot wait, for instance, to get the Supergirl from the Flash movie. I know it's going to be as outstanding as anything else on this particular banner. I have that confidence. It's what these companies do, ladies and gentlemen. And to say which one is better, honestly, does it really matter? Does it really, really matter? What I'm going to tell you here is, you've got two companies now. Now, I think you're going to have others, and you got other companies that are coming up, and we don't talk about it a whole lot. Let's talk about EXO-6. Let's talk about EXO-6. Let's talk about that company and what they're doing with Star Trek. And they continue to get better and better and better and better. And I actually think they're going to get just as good as Hot Toys and InART. Then the question's going to be, maybe as soon as in a year, who's better, EXO-6, InART, or Hot Toys? And then you've got other companies that are getting into the mix. It's escaping me, but I think I heard a couple weeks ago there's another one that's going to start getting into this. And I venture to guess there's going to be even other companies that are going to get in on this, because people buy these particular figures. If you're a company and you're a businessman or a businesswoman, and you're seeing the response to Hot Toys, and you're seeing the response to InART, I told you in my last episode, Hot Toys and Howard Chan would have to be nuts not to come out with their own version of the Joker, with how much InART was able to people were willing to pay for that. And they took a chance with it, they put it out, and they made a lot of money that day with this version, even with the InART one out. So you have to wonder, does that mean other companies that have some money and want to invest in an artist of their own, or an artist that could have worked at one of these other companies or very close there, and you could pay them enough money to do this kind of work? Look, If I had $1 billion, I can go ahead. I can't paint those things, but I can sure as heck try and pay someone to do it. There's your head sculpt. There's your paint. Now I'm number one. Doesn't matter about number one. You got other companies coming into the mix that are coming in and doing this. InART has a lot of promise. What I'm really, really excited about is Game of Thrones. When I see that Daenerys Stormborn, Harry Potter, and see that of Dumbledore, and of course Lord of the Rings. Man, these are things. Hot Toys is so Marvel, so Star Wars, and so DC. Okay, they have Back to the Future. They have some other things, Avatar, and things of that nature, and that's great. It's great to see another company doing just as good of a work. And again, whether it's equal or better, to me, it's all the same. Honestly, it's the same. One can argue one better than the other. You get these things in your hand, it's just crazy. But it's nice to see another company, and I feel like InART's going to dive deep into some other IPs, which is going to be great. Look at what EXO-6 is doing. How can you say that they're not up to par? And especially that Star Trek line could be deep as heck, baby. Deep as heck. And really, you can. I'd love for them to get into, like, someone can get Battlestar Galactica or some of these other. I'm just thinking about it. And Battlestar Galactica would be fabulous because not only would you get, all the you could get all the old ones, from the 1978 and the early 80s series. You could get all the new Battlestar Galactica from the Reimagined series with Ronald D. Moore and gang as well. So that's probably what excites me the most, is seeing a company like EXO-6, seeing a company like InART doing different things. Hot Toys deep with the Disney license and some other cool stuff with Warner Brothers and stuff that they have there as well. And of course, I'm a big Star Wars guy. So, Hot Toys, Star Wars, come on. I just love that. But I think the future with this hobby is very, very promising. It just couldn't go on in that COVID time with the amount of figures that was coming out with right now at this moment like that, as you can see with the secondary market. Does that mean that those figures are not going to do well in the future? I actually think some of them are going to do very, very well. So again, highly recommend getting those. But is that why you're seeing adjustments on pre-orders hitting wait lists and things being... we've seen more exclusives and limited numbered figures this year than we've ever seen before. Why? Ask yourself that question. Why? Pause. You're watching a market chart show. Spotchka, baby. Delicious. Listen, I'm going to pause here and I'm going to play you something. Play you something cool. A new intro. Don't worry. It's direct. This is for... I'm going to play you this. It's 49 seconds, I believe. And I have a new insider video that talks about, is everything under 4K production for Hot Toys? And I'm going to give you a trailer, a teaser trailer. If you join 6 Scale Cantina, which is cheaper, baby, than a dozen eggs in most places, mostly cheaper than a gallon of gas in most places, baby. For sure. You could click on the little join button, see everything that it comes with. Think you could benefit from it. I do appreciate your support. But here you go right now. Let's pause and watch this 49-second trailer of the new Insider video, which Insiders get a special intro for Insiders and outro. Let's play it right now. So speaking of collectability and collectibles, some of these figures, like the Praetorian Guard, and so many underneath it that have got listed that even came close to surpassing or being passed where the Artisan Joker is, the Artisan Anakin, so many of these figures. When you talk of some figures that have been released, like Daredevil, there you go, baby. The new Insiders exclusive video right here at 6 Scale Cantina. And all you have to do, besides believe, is just join the channel to see the whole darn thing and see all of the other exclusive Insider channel member only content. And you can get that right here. I do appreciate your support, baby. Come on. I'll be back for 6 Scale Raw tomorrow. I was off for a couple weeks. What are we going to talk about? I have no idea. We'll talk about some stuff. We'll have some fun. Maybe we'll talk about what we thought of the Ahsoka series. Maybe we'll talk about the history of the writer's strike and what that means now moving forward. Maybe we'll talk about that prisoner Leia that's going to be absolutely forthcoming for the 40th anniversary of the Return of the Jedi. Is that from the Hot Toys Wizard, who's never been wrong, or is that from the Dark Jedi, who has been? I have to be very careful here. Maybe I'm not even either of them. Maybe it's TK FOMO with his helmet off, baby. Anyway, 6 Scale Raw tomorrow, 8:15 p.m. Eastern with the 6 Scale Raw crew. We're also going to have special guests on 6 Scale Raw tomorrow. We're going to have Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, and Tom Holland all in there for sure. And actually the Green Goblin in real life. You're not going to want to miss it. Plus the Mandalorian with Grogu and the Emperor at table 66. It's going to be so good. I don't always spill coffee, but when I do, I spill it and drink the spatchka right here at 6 Scale Cantina. Stay thirsty, my friends.
Thank you.